in this section, we will learn how to create a Mirth channel that use transformer and connect it to SQL Server. We will create a store procedure in SQL Server management tool. From there, we will create the data and output it into a CSV file format. So before we get started, let me just show you what this looks like. So right here in Mirth, this is our channel that I created beforehand, and in the transformer, this is how I call the store procedure to output the data. Here are the column names, and here are the data that we're outputting. So let's give it a try so you can see what's going on. Okay, let us deploy this channel. There you go. So here, this is what the file look like. Okay, very simple, straightforward. Okay, so let us get started. Before we do that, let me remove the file that we output earlier, and we start to build a channel, a new channel from scratch. So before we build this channel, we have to create a store procedure. And first of all, first thing first, we have to understand what is a store procedure and what is it used for. A store procedure is a group of SQL statements. For example, if you have a situation that you are writing the same query over and over again, you can actually save that particular query as a store procedure and call it just by the name of the procedure. Okay, so let me quickly go to SQL Server management tool. Okay, so here we are looking at the department table. In this query, all we outputting is the department ID, name, group name, modified date. Let's say if you were to use this query over and over again, why not we just put it in a store procedure so we can call from it and output the data instead of writing the whole query repeatedly every time, right? So the way you do it, just copy the query and paste it right there. Okay, now the syntax is just to create procedure, and you give it a name and put the S here. Okay, now for this particular get department store procedure here, this is just a simple procedure. Okay, we're not going to go into very complex, because there are procedures that you will have a ton of multiple parameter where you're going to pass through it. Within the procedure, we can do a lot of things. We can update, we can delete a record, we can copy a record, we can do as much as we can, everything we can in there. Okay, so but for this procedure, all we do is just a select query. Okay, so to execute the procedure, just type execute and then the procedure name, and that's pretty much it. Okay, now let's just go minimize this, and we're gonna go back to the Mirth channel. So let's us move this aside, and we're gonna put this here. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new channel. give it a name. Okay, store procedure 01. First thing, we have to set the data type. In the sort connector, select raw. Outbound, inbound is raw, outbound is, no, I'm sorry, inbound is XML and outbound is raw. For the destination, inbound is raw, outbound is also raw. Okay, when you finish, click OK. Click Save. Now go to the next step. We're gonna go into sort. Okay, now in this step, we're gonna select a drop down in the connector type and select JavaScript reader. Scheduling type, just choose time and the poll once start. Choose yes because we want to see the report is actually generated. Okay, the time, just leave it there as default, or you can put whatever time that you want. So in here, this is the report that we're going to name it department report. We're gonna put like that. I just copy and paste for the code that I already have. Save it. Moving to the next step, we need to add a transformer. To add a transformer, click Add New Step, and under the type, click the drop down, choose JavaScript. Just give it a name for this particular transformer. We can call it calling store procedure get department. Okay. Now moving along, this is the part where we connect to the database. Okay, this is the connection string to the database, and we want to write out the query. So for the variable query here, we're going to execute this particular select statement, which is execute the store procedure here. Exactly what we have in here. Okay, so that's very straightforward. Okay, next up, we're gonna implement the try and catch error exception. So I'll just paste it there. You can follow along. You can just copy and paste as well. Next, we're going to implement the header of the report. Okay, so this is how you do it. Since we have 4 rows, I implement A, B, C, and D, and this is the name that I want for my my header. Okay, so department ID, name, group name, and modify date. Exactly the same in here. Next up, we're gonna parsing the result set coming back from the database query. So let me just copy and paste this code that I already built from the other channel. Okay, and then lastly, we're gonna name the report. There you go. The way we name this report is department report and underscore, and we want to concatenate with the current date string. So this is a JavaScript date function right there. Okay, and this is how we want to call it. We want to map it as the file output file name, which is this one. Okay, so make sure you remember this part right there. Just copy that. Now before we get out of this window, you need to validate the transformer so that you don't make any error. Okay, so it's look good. Now let's go back. The next step we're gonna go to, let's save it. Okay, just in case anything happened, you still have the channel. Destination. what we want to do here, we want to select file writer, and the the file name, we're gonna put that where we had that in the transformer. Remember I told you earlier, and the destination, this is where I'm gonna output the file, which is in here. Okay, template, just put message encoded data, queue the message, click always, override the file. Now I want to talk a little bit about file exists, and then you click override here. Let's say if you had it append, so every time you generate, you know what, let's not do that, let's choose it append, and then I'll show you exactly what it is like. Okay, all right, and you will see what this means if you override the file. So everything looking good. Make sure you check this enable before you deploy the channel. Okay, so let's just deploy the channel. This is reading right here. See, now it's, you know, it's outputting the report. Very straightforward. See, now let's go back to this channel real quick. Now let's deploy it again. You find out what happened. Now you see from 2K it jumped up to 3K. See, it's overriding. It's not overriding, it's just continue to add on the new data into the same file. So in order to do that, if you don't want that, then what you need to do is go back to the destination where you can select the override. If file exists, override it, and we save it, and we deploy. Now check this out. Right now you see the file has 3 KB, right? It's gonna override it with the fresh data, only 2K, and open this. You see that? It's only 16 record. It's actually override the file for you. Okay? So this is how we create a report by using the transformer JavaScript, and then we query out the data by using the store procedure from SQL Server. Okay, in the past video we always did, we can put it here to query, but what if you have a report that you have 2,000 line of code or something like that, and it's too long, you cannot just stay there and copy and paste a whole query in there. Okay, instead to do that, we can create a store procedure, which is I showed you earlier here. So put in your store procedure and call it in Mirth. Okay, you can do a lot in store procedure with update, delete record, update record, and add a new record. Anything you can do in there. Okay, so I hope this lesson is helpful. If you find if you like this video, please give it a thumb up, and please share and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, God bless.